There's a pattern to every adult's financial life that nobody ever draws out for you on a whiteboard. Nobody sits you down and explains it. You just kind of live it and feel vaguely cheated the whole time without being able to explain exactly why. I want to talk about that pattern today. Not in a here are 5 steps to fix your finances way. More like the way you'd talk about it sitting on a porch somewhere after a long week with someone you actually trust. Because the more I think about it, the more I believe this one observation explains more about why most people feel financially stuck than any budgeting spreadsheet ever could. So let me back up a little. A few years ago, I was in a season of my life that I can only describe as voluntarily insane. I had a day job that paid the bills and a side business I was building on nights and weekends. And I mean that literally. Monday through Friday, I was at the office. Saturday and Sunday, I was working on the side thing. There was no day off. There was just working for someone else and working for myself, rotating in a loop. I used to set an alarm for 5:45 on Saturday mornings, on a Saturday, for a side business that wasn't even profitable yet. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because I genuinely thought I was being smart. I thought I was doing the thing, building towards something, sacrificing now to get ahead later. What I was actually doing was running on adrenaline and cheap coffee, and completely ignoring the fact that I hadn't taken a real day off in about 14 months. It was during that stretch that I crossed paths with a guy I'll call Gary. He was older, maybe late 50s, had been in finance for 30 years, and had recently stepped back from the grind to consult part-time. We kept ending up at the same early morning networking thing, the kind where everyone's wearing business casual at 7 a.m. pretending the coffee is good. Gary was the only person there who seemed genuinely relaxed. Not fake relaxed, actually relaxed. We started talking, and over a few months of those early mornings, he'd occasionally say something that would stay with me for weeks after. The thing he said that I still think about constantly was almost offhand. We were walking out to the parking lot one morning, and he just kind of said it the way you'd comment on the weather. He said, "Look, in almost every adult life I've ever seen, there are 3 things you need to actually live well: time, health, and money. And at any given point in your life, you're probably only going to have 2 of them." Then he got in his car. That was it. No follow-up. No solution offered. Just the observation dropped and left there. I remember sitting in my own car for a few minutes before driving anywhere, just kind of staring at the steering wheel. Because the second he said it, I knew it was true. Not theoretically true. Uncomfortably, specifically, personally true. Here's what Gary's observation actually looks like when you map it out across a real life. When you're young, you have time and you have health. You can work long hours and bounce back. You can pull an all-nighter and feel fine by noon. Your body is cooperating. Your schedule is relatively open. You have weekends that feel like actual weekends. What you don't have is money. And not just, I wish I had more money. Real foundational money. The kind that creates options. Most people in their 20s are either paying off student loans or just starting to build any savings at all, or both. The median 25-year-old in this country has somewhere around $10,000 in savings. Which sounds okay until you realize that's roughly 1 bad month away from zero. So, you have energy, you have time, and financially, you're essentially operating with no margin. This matters more than people realize, because it means the experiences you can have in this phase are fundamentally limited by the thing you're missing. You can travel, but only if it's cheap. You can take risks, but only small ones. You can enjoy your health and your free time, but always with one eye on the bank account. There's always a ceiling on it. Then something shifts in your 30s and 40s. The money starts to come. Maybe not wealth, but stability. You've been working long enough to have a salary that actually covers things. Maybe you've built some savings. Maybe the business is real now, or the promotion finally happened. The financial floor feels a little higher than it used to. And you still have your health. You're not 22, but you're not falling apart either. You could theoretically do the things, except now you have no time. The job expanded to fill every available hour. The mortgage means you can't just walk away. You have a kid, or aging parents, or both. Your weekends are full of things that need to happen. The calendar has no white space left in it. Every vacation requires 6 weeks of advanced planning, and someone to cover for you, and a quiet guilt that you're letting people down by being gone. You have money, you have health, and you are completely structurally out of time. I did this to myself for years. Kept saying I'd slow down once I hit the next milestone. Once the business was profitable. Once I paid off the car. Once we got through this busy quarter. The milestones kept moving and the time kept disappearing, and I kept telling myself it was temporary. It wasn't temporary. It was the pattern. And then the last phase, retirement. The kids are grown, the mortgage is paid down, the schedule is finally yours again. You have money, or at least more financial security than you've had at any other point. You have time. But the health piece starts to get complicated. Not necessarily catastrophic, but the things you wanted to do at 40, some of them are just harder at 65. The 40-day backpacking trip, the skiing vacation, even just the stamina to explore a new city on foot for 8 hours. The body starts negotiating terms. So across your entire adult life, you cycle through the same trap. Young time and health, but no money. Middle money and health, but no time. Old money and time, but health becomes the variable. 2 out of 3. Every single phase. Gary said it like it was just an observation. But the more I sat with it, the more it felt like a life sentence. Now here's where most people make the first wrong turn. You're in your mid-20s. You have the time and the health, but not the money. And the cultural message you absorb from approximately everywhere is you only live once. Spend it. Experience it. Don't defer your life. And look, I understand the instinct. The alternative sounds grim. Years of deprivation. Skipping everything good now for some hypothetical future that might never come. Nobody wants that either. But here's what actually happens when you follow the live now logic without the financial foundation underneath it. The experiences are real. I'm not dismissing them, but they're constrained in ways you don't fully notice until later. You're having fun, but you're having it on a budget that limits the depth of it. You're traveling, but you're stressed about the credit card the whole time. You're technically free on Saturday afternoon, but you're spending it working a shift you picked up because rent is due. It's like eating a meal when you're slightly anxious about whether you can afford it. The food is the same, but the experience is not. And while you're doing that, the years that compound the hardest are passing. Financial independence at its core runs on compound growth. The money you invest at 25 doesn't just grow. It grows, and then the growth grows, and then that growth grows. The acceleration is real and it is dramatic. Missing those early years doesn't just delay the outcome, it shrinks it significantly. I ran the numbers on this once and genuinely had to close my laptop for a few minutes. If you invest $500 a month starting at 25, by 65, you're looking at somewhere around $1.6 million at a standard 8% return. Start the same $500 a month at 35 instead, around $700,000. Same contribution, same discipline. 10 years later, $900,000 gone. Not because of bad decisions, because of a decade spent thinking there was time to start later. The live now framing isn't wrong about enjoying life. It's wrong about the sequencing. You're not choosing between living now and living later. You're choosing between building a foundation now that makes the living actually sustainable, or spending the years that matter most to compound growth on experiences that are good, but not as good as they'll be once you're not watching your account balance while you have. The mango isn't better when you eat it early. It's just the only mango you had, so you told yourself it was fine. So I spent a long time sitting with Gary's observation, feeling like it was just true, like gravity. Like something you acknowledge and then learn to live inside of. And for a while, that's exactly what I did. I accepted the pattern, kept working, kept telling myself the sacrifice was building towards something even when I couldn't clearly describe what that something was. I missed my cousin's wedding because of a work trip. I skipped a friend's birthday dinner 3 years in a row. I told myself I'd make it up later when things calmed down. Things didn't calm down. What changed wasn't my circumstances. What changed was that I stumbled across a framework for thinking about money that I had never been taught. Not in school, not by my parents, not by any job I'd ever had. The idea that financial independence wasn't just something that happened to lucky people or people who made a lot of money. It was something you could engineer on a normal income if you understood what you were actually building toward and why the sequence mattered. Financial independence is one of those terms that gets thrown around so much, it stops meaning anything. So let me translate it into plain language. Financial independence doesn't mean you're rich. It doesn't mean you own a yacht or retired at 30 or never work again. It means you've built enough passive income and invested assets that your basic life expenses are covered without you trading hours for dollars every single month. It means the job becomes optional. Not necessarily gone, just optional. That's it. That's the whole thing. And the reason it matters in the context of Gary's triangle is this: financial independence is the only mechanism I've found that actually breaks the pattern. Because once the money side is structurally handled, the trade-off changes. You stop losing time to mandatory income generation. You can choose work you actually want to do at a pace that doesn't consume your health. For the first time in your adult life, all three variables are pointing in the same direction at the same time. The core of building toward financial independence is simpler than the financial industry wants you to believe. Spend less than you earn. Invest the gap consistently in low-cost index funds. Increase the gap over time as your income grows. Let compound growth do the work it was always going to do if you'd just gotten out of the way and let it. The target most people in the financial independence community work toward is roughly 25 times your annual expenses in invested assets. At that point, a standard 4% annual withdrawal covers your costs indefinitely. Your money is working. You are not required to. For someone spending $40,000 a year, that target is $1 million. For someone spending $60,000 a year, it's $1.5 million. Those numbers sound large, I know. And I'm not going to pretend they're easy to reach. They're not. But they're not lottery ticket numbers either. They're math numbers. Reachable on a median American income with the right timeline and the right habits consistently applied. And this is where I want to talk directly to anyone listening to this who's already doing the mental math and starting to feel like they've missed their window. Maybe you're 30. Maybe you're 38. Maybe you're looking at those compounding numbers and calculating how far behind you already are, and the feeling you're getting isn't motivation. It's just dread. I want to be honest with you about something. I didn't figure any of this out at 22. I wasn't some prodigy who read one book and immediately optimized my entire financial life. I spent years in the pattern, fully inside it, not seeing a way out. I started seriously building toward financial independence in my early 30s. It took time. It required undoing habits and assumptions that had been with me for years. There were months where I backslid. There were stretches where life got expensive in ways I didn't plan for, and the progress stalled. It still worked, not because I was exceptional, because the math doesn't actually require you to be exceptional. It just requires you to be consistent and to start before you talk yourself out of it. If you start at 30 and you're disciplined about it, financial independence at 42 or 45 is genuinely achievable for a lot of people. You still have your health at 45. You still have, statistically speaking, decades of life ahead of you. You are not trading your best years for a retirement you're too tired to enjoy. You're actually hitting the escape hatch, while there's still so much left to do with it. If you start at 40, the math shifts. But a 55-year-old who is financially free and in decent health can still do extraordinary things with that freedom. The world is not closed to you at 55. Not even close. The only scenario where it's genuinely too late is the one where you keep waiting for a better time to start. That time is not coming. There is no version of your life where the conditions get more convenient. There is only now, with whatever you have right now and the decision about whether to point it in the right direction. I think about Gary sometimes, about how casually he delivered that observation, like he was just noting that it might rain later. I don't know if he ever found his own way out of the triangle. He seemed like he had. He had that quality of someone who had stopped trying to prove something and was just living. I used to envy that. I don't anymore. Not because I stopped wanting it, but because I understand now that it wasn't luck or inheritance or some personality trait he was born with. It was a series of decisions made earlier than most people make them that compounded into something that looked effortless from the outside. That's what financial freedom actually looks like up close. Not a number in an account. Not a date on a calendar. It's a Tuesday morning when something important to you comes up and you can just go. You don't have to check with anyone. You don't have to calculate whether you can afford the missed hours. You don't have to weigh it against anything. You just go, I missed a lot of Tuesday mornings I can't get back. I'm not missing them anymore. And if you're willing to take the pattern seriously, to actually look at where you are in the triangle right now and make a decision about it instead of just living inside it on autopilot, I genuinely believe you don't have to miss yours either. That's worth more than whatever you'd spend those years on instead. Trust me, your future self is already making plans for that Tuesday morning.